Have you ever walked down the street and noticed someone sleeping on a bench, their belongings scattered around them? Maybe you looked away, feeling a mix of pity and discomfort. Homelessness is a complex issue, one that's easy to ignore until it's impossible to deny. It's a problem that's been steadily growing in America, casting a long shadow over our bustling cities. From coast to coast, major cities are grappling with a surge in homelessness. Tent cities have sprung up in parks and underpasses, a stark reminder of the growing gap between the haves and the have-nots. The faces of homelessness are diverse. Families struggling to make ends meet, veterans battling unseen wounds, individuals grappling with mental health challenges. This is not just a big city problem. It's happening in towns and suburbs across the nation. But the sheer scale of the crisis is most apparent in our urban centers. The numbers paint a stark picture of the homeless crisis gripping America. According to the National Alliance to End Homelessness, over 500,000 people experience homelessness on any given night in the United States. These numbers represent real people, individuals, families, veterans, living without the basic necessity of shelter. They are our neighbors, our fellow citizens, and their plight demands our attention. Los Angeles, often seen as a city of dreams, has the dubious distinction of having one of the largest homeless populations in the country. Over 60,000 people are experiencing homelessness in Los Angeles County, a number that has increased steadily in recent years. New York City, the nation's largest metropolis, isn't far behind. The city's shelter system is overwhelmed, with over 80,000 people seeking refuge each night. Behind each number is a story of hardship, struggle, and often hope for a better future. The streets of New York City, a global symbol of ambition and success, tell a different story after dark. As the city that never sleeps quiets down, the plight of its homeless population becomes impossible to ignore. Families huddle in subway stations, seeking warmth from the cold night air. Individuals sleep on sidewalks, their belongings crammed into shopping carts. The city's sky-high housing costs are a major contributor, pushing low-income families and individuals out of the housing market. Mental health issues and substance abuse also play a role, leaving many vulnerable and unable to access the support they need. The city's shelter system, while extensive, is stretched to its breaking point. Many individuals and families find themselves turned away, forced to seek shelter on the streets. Los Angeles, the city of angels, is a place of stark contrasts. Glimmering skyscrapers and luxurious mansions stand in stark contrast to the sprawling tent cities that have become a common sight in neighborhoods like Skid Row. Los Angeles County has the largest homeless population in the United States, a crisis fueled by a perfect storm of factors. The city's high cost of living, driven by soaring housing prices, is a major contributor. Many working families struggle to make ends meet, let alone afford the exorbitant rents and mortgages in Los Angeles. A single unexpected expense, such as a medical bill or car repair, can push a family over the edge into homelessness. Skid Row, a 54-block area in downtown Los Angeles, has become synonymous with homelessness. But the crisis extends far beyond Skid Row, affecting neighborhoods across the city. San Francisco, once known for its bohemian charm and progressive values, is now grappling with a homeless crisis of epic proportions. The city's tech boom, while bringing prosperity to some, has fueled a housing crisis that has pushed many longtime residents onto the streets. The influx of high-paid tech workers has driven up housing costs to astronomical levels, making it nearly impossible for low- and middle-income residents to afford to live in the city. Families who have called San Francisco home for generations are being priced out, forced to choose between leaving the city they love and living on the streets. The city's homeless population is a visible reminder of the dark side of the tech boom. Tent encampments have sprung up in parks and underpasses, a stark contrast to the gleaming office buildings of Silicon Valley giants. The crisis has become a major point of contention in the city, with residents and businesses alike feeling the impact. San Francisco's struggle to address its homeless crisis is a cautionary tale about the unintended consequences of rapid economic growth. Seattle, the Emerald City, known for its natural beauty and thriving tech industry, is facing a growing crisis that threatens to tarnish its image. Homelessness has skyrocketed in recent years, transforming once vibrant neighborhoods into areas struggling to cope with the influx of people living on the streets. The city's booming tech sector, while fueling economic growth, has also exacerbated the housing crisis. High-paid tech workers have driven up housing costs, making it increasingly difficult for low- and middle-income residents to find affordable housing. Tent cities have become a common sight in Seattle, popping up in parks, under freeway overpasses, and even in the shadows of gleaming office buildings. The crisis has put a strain on city resources and sparked debate about the best way to address the complex issue of homelessness. Seattle's struggles are a stark reminder that even in a city known for its progressive values and economic prosperity, the gap between the haves and the have-nots can have devastating consequences. Behind the statistics and the headlines are real people with real stories. People like Sarah, a single mother who lost her job and her apartment after a prolonged illness. Now, she and her 2 young children are living in their car, uncertain of where they'll sleep each night. Or Michael, a veteran who struggles with PTSD after serving 2 tours in Afghanistan. Unable to hold down a job or afford rent, Michael found himself living on the streets, haunted by the memories of war and struggling to find his way back to civilian life. And then there's Emily, a young woman who fled an abusive relationship and ended up on the streets, with nowhere else to turn. Emily's story is a reminder that homelessness can affect anyone, regardless of age, background, or circumstances. Each person experiencing homelessness has a unique story to tell, a story that deserves to be heard and acknowledged. As the sun sets and the city comes alive with the allure of nightlife, a different reality unfolds on its darkened streets. For many experiencing homelessness, the nightlife scene is not about revelry and escape. It's about survival. Some find themselves drawn to the nightlife scene as a means of making ends meet. They may sell trinkets, offer to watch cars, or engage in other informal economic activities to earn enough money for a meal or a place to sleep. Others are drawn to the nightlife scene out of desperation, seeking solace in drugs or alcohol to numb the pain of their circumstances. The easy availability of substances in some nightlife districts can perpetuate a cycle of addiction and despair, making it even more challenging for individuals to escape homelessness. The intersection of nightlife and homelessness is a complex issue, often characterized by exploitation and vulnerability. City governments across the country are grappling with how to address the growing crisis of homelessness within their limits. From coast to coast, a patchwork of solutions has emerged, ranging from temporary shelters and outreach programs to more innovative approaches like housing first initiatives. Some cities have focused on expanding their shelter systems, providing temporary housing and support services to those experiencing homelessness. While shelters can offer a temporary reprieve from the streets, they are often overcrowded and lack the resources to address the complex needs of the homeless population. Other cities have implemented housing first programs, which prioritize providing permanent housing to individuals and families experiencing homelessness without preconditions such as sobriety or employment. Housing first models have shown promise in reducing chronic homelessness, but they require significant investment and political will. In addition to these efforts, many cities are investing in outreach programs, mental health services, and job training initiatives to address the root causes of homelessness. The homeless crisis in America's cities is not just a local issue. It's a national challenge that demands a comprehensive and compassionate response. Addressing this complex issue requires a multi-pronged approach that tackles the root causes of homelessness while providing immediate support to those in need. One crucial step is to expand access to affordable housing. The lack of affordable housing options is a major driver of homelessness, forcing families and individuals to choose between paying rent and putting food on the table. Investing in the construction of more affordable housing units and providing rental assistance to low-income families can help prevent homelessness before it occurs. Another critical area of focus is mental health and substance abuse treatment. Many individuals experiencing homelessness struggle with mental health issues or substance abuse disorders, which can make it difficult to maintain stable housing and employment. Expanding access to mental health and substance abuse treatment programs is essential to breaking the cycle of homelessness. The homeless crisis in America's cities can feel overwhelming, but it's important to remember that we can all make a difference. Even small acts of kindness and compassion can have a ripple effect, spreading hope and support to those who need it most. Volunteer your time at a local homeless shelter or soup kitchen. Donate gently used clothing, blankets, and toiletries to organizations that serve the homeless population. Educate yourself about the issue of homelessness and advocate for policies that promote affordable housing, mental health care, and job training programs. Most importantly, treat everyone with dignity and respect, regardless of their housing status. A simple smile, a kind word, or a listening ear can make a world of difference to someone who is feeling invisible and forgotten. By working together with compassion and determination, we can create a more just and equitable society where everyone has a safe and stable place to call home.